Hi everyone, this is Paul Lange from Disciplined Trading Strategies with this week's Trade of the Week video. This is for the week ending March 28th of 2021, and the stock was DRI. This happened on Thursday the 25th. This is based on a tier 2 gap with an entry on a 5-minute buy setup, kind of a 15-minute buy setup initially with a 5-minute buy setup confirmation on a secondary sign of strength. The management advanced and reward to risk 2.7 to 1. As usual, before we get to that trade, what's going on this week for free members of DTS? There is a special event this week. What is consistent trading? This is going to be Wednesday the 31st at 5 o'clock. You can stop and read the slide if you'd like to. Otherwise, if you are a member, you will receive your invites for this event. If you're not a member, hop on over to the DTS homepage and you'll see where you can sign up to become a free member. No credit card, just your email is all that's required. This is the daily chart, and this was a tier 2 gap that happened that morning. Stock's going to open right about there, and that's what it looked like at the end of the day. Tier 2 gap means I like to find some kind of entry. Don't trust that it's going to rally from the open, and this one did not, as you can see. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. There is the area that was required to clear, at least on the gap initially, the key area that would be support. The stock opened right there. I did not have this on the screen for an early entry this day. Sometimes these do take off, but I wasn't willing to do that because the odds were that it would not. When I teach technical analysis, one of the things I discuss is that you have to temper your strategies with a big overview of how things are being treated and or what might be the market environment at the time. Gap ups that start to pull back generally continue to pull back. They don't get caught very early. We are kind of in a momentum type of market where things that fly higher, things that go lower, go lower. I was looking at two other trades this morning, so I wasn't even looking at this early on. I remember Cisco long and PCG long were things that I did early, so I didn't have this in focus. I don't know if I would have looked at getting it down here at this is a bottoming tail. It crashed. I do like those entries. Didn't really see that one happen that morning. So once this happened, I let this settle down for a while. And it wasn't until almost noon where I found the entry here. This is a little 15-minute buy setup. Even that I did not trust because the stock had not shown the strength yet. So if we look at the next chart, we can get a little better view on the 5 of exactly what I did. Here is that little 15-minute buy setup right there. So I let that go and actually waited for that little 5-minute buy setup there. Even then, I waited for what's called a secondary sign of strength to make sure that this was not going to back up on me, or at least as sure as I can be. We're never sure of anything. Target 1 was right there. A little comment on the target. You may call that a cheap target. It was a cheap target. It was a sub 1 hour target. Doesn't matter. Do not listen to people who talk about concepts that you have to have a minimum reward to risk. I cover this on a lot of the free event topics. You can go listen to them. It is a silly notion when you think about it. That was the target. That is the target on the chart. I can't change that. And just because I chose to get in here rather than here doesn't mean the chart is necessarily going to give me a bigger target just because I got in later than I normally would. So that is target 1, and there are a lot of advantages to taking target 1 there. One of them is that I walked away on this for the next couple of hours. It's kind of ironic. I pulled up back up to the screen. I was gone for this whole time through here. Wasn't looking at it. Stop in place, of course. And I also had target 2 set up at just under 143 somewhere. I walked back to the screen right in here. And I started typing to the room, I'm back, what's going on? And boom, this thing just took off because I typed WOA to the rooms because this thing just went right through my target number 2, got taken out, hooray. And then let target 3 go to end of the day. At some point up in here, I raised the stop to this area right in here, and target 3 went out at end of day. So target 2 was predetermined just under 143. If you look at the daily chart or the hourly chart, you'll see that there was some resistance up in there. That's why that was a target. And then by definition, third target, end of day. And I trailed it out a little before the end of the day once it made that topping tail up in the 146 area. So overall, really nice trade. Part of it going end of the day, entry somewhere around noon. Kind of a late thing for me. Another point I want to make is that I really focus on the opening hour or so in the trading room. We get really busy. I get busy around 8:30. The room opens at 9. We're very busy from 9 till 10:30, sometimes till 11, and that's pretty much my day. Now what I did on this day is I always hang a little sign up in the room, and I told everybody there was one thing I wanted to come back and look at, and that was DRI. So I went away for a while, came back and found this entry on DRI right in here. That's the only reason I came back that particular day, or at least the reason, the motivation for me to come back. Otherwise, a lot of days we're just kind of done. So it turned out to be worthwhile. This was a tier 2 gap that I wanted to have if it was going to set up properly, and it did. I could have come back and it crashed and I'd be glad that I didn't even try it, or I could have come back and it could have been already beyond all my targets and I would have missed it. That's fine too. You can't have that fear of missing out guide your trading. You have to take what sets up. And finally, the last slide here is just showing a little better view of that entry. Some of my students will understand this totally. That is the 5-minute buy setup that is, in a sense, a very weak secondary sign of strength to the 15-minute buy setup, and then the real secondary sign of strength coming over that area right in there to kind of make sure that this is not going to back up on me. Trade worked out really well, and it was a gap I'm featuring because I haven't really featured a gap that's done on the same day in a little bit. A lot of mini gaps, but this is a full-fledged, full-size gap that we do through a gap analysis type concept. Targets 2 and targets 3, of course, were off the screen up in there somewhere. That was target 1 right there. The DTS Trading Room, day trading, is not what many people think it is. To me, it is a very disciplined, succinct way of looking at things with the day well planned out, taking high quality trades, trying to focus on 2 or 3 a day. I usually end up at 3 or 4. If you like this style of trading, come join us in the DTS Trading Room. If you go over to the DTS homepage, you'll look at the services tab and figure out how to join up. Until next time, this is Paul for DTS. Good trading, everybody.